Briefly, can you tell us about some of the training that you've had?
I actually, we have a very famous Kathak dancer in Pakistan. Her name is Nighat Siddiqui. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of her. Nighat Siddiqui. She's my first guru from London. And she was here even through the time of the Zia regime. And she went to London in 77. So I started with her. And then I went to India. I came back to Pakistan. And her guru, Ghulam Hussain Maharaj Kathak, I spent 3 years with him. And he said to me, you have to go to India because Pakistan mein nahi hai ab. Where you've gone, you'll just be going back to A. You need to go to India. So that's when I decided to go to India. So I was the only Pakistani that ever went to Kathak Kendra, which is India. It's the only school of Kathak and it's the best in the world. And the best gurus. I mean, the best guru. I was very nervous because, I had to be auditioned. So, my training was not, there were gaps in my training because I hadn't learned like an Indian had learned, right?
Where they devote themselves just
in the
completely
sense
and fully.
in Pakistan, and my guru had gaps in the sense that they were very, and I'm not being biased, but I'm being very honest, that the focus was, because of Pakistan, was about the Muslim aspect.
Okay.
So the other aspect, which is also part which makes the dance holistic, was not there. And I lacked that. I lacked the understanding of mythology. I didn't know about, the shlokas. And now I, know it like the back of my hand. But at that time, when they questioned me, Guru Vandana Dikhao, and I said, what's that? So it's like, I didn't know that, right? And then I remember saying, what do you know? And I said, I only know this. I can do technique. But they were very gracious with me, and I must say. And I actually, again, जो महाराज कथक थे जिन्होंने मुझे सिखाया था, बिरजू महाराज जी is the king of Kathak, मतलब the doyen, right? Lucknow घराना. So my guru, my Nana guru, Nighat Siddiqui's guru is my Nana guru when I came to Pakistan. Just putting things into context. So he had taught me something. तुम ऑडिशन के लिए जा रही हो ना, तो आई एम गोइंग टू टीच यू समथिंग जो मैंने अपने गुरु से सीखा, which मैंने बहुत कम लोगों को सीखा, मैं तुम्हें सिखाऊँ, तुमने ऑडिशन में करना. I said, okay. So I really worked on it, perfected it. So when I went for the audition, Biju Maharaj ji did my audition. And I was like really nervous because he's the king. If he says yes, you're in. If he says no, you're out. And I said, oh, if I'm a Pakistani, they're never going to take me. So I said to him, I know. He says, Guru Vandana, you don't know this. I said, no, I don't know this. He says, what do you know? I says, my guru taught me one thing to do at the audition. He said, Dikhao. And it was his father's, it was the thing that I had learned was something his father had taught my Nana Guru.
Wow.
So he was like,
where did you learn this?
तुमने ये कहाँ से सीखा? I was like, blown over. I didn't realize, the kind of, the jewel
Impact,
I had in my hand. At that time when I was learning, I was पता नहीं मुझे क्यों सिखा रहे. And he says, ये कहाँ से? ये तो मेरे बाबा की चीज़ है. तो मैंने कहा मुझे महाराज गुलाम हुसैन कथक नहीं कहते, उन्होंने मेरे बाबा से सीखा क्योंकि किसी के पास है. And I said, हाँ, उन्होंने अच्छन महाराज जी से कहते वो मेरे बाबा. So that's how I got in. I mean, he said, he saw the potential. He did say to me, ऐसा नहीं है, मगर आपके gaps बहुत है. So I actually, in the whole 8 years, I was filling in my gaps. I was filling in that part of my training that did not exist. The theory. There's so much theory in Kathak we don't realize. The Natya Shastra, the book, which is the book of performing arts. It, in detail, it tells you, it's a book every actor, every musician, and every dancer should read. And I will gift that to you, by the way. Because it tells you characters, what they look like, what their emotions are. इतना ज़्यादा डिटेल में कि every artist should have that book, because then that's what I never read. I didn't realize कि the subtle emotions of a character, what expression would they hold, how would their eyebrows move, how would the perspiration on the face come. मतलब इतने डिटेल में I learned. So
how was your family reaction when you first told them that you are going to India for 8 years?
I was disowned for a long time from my family. My parents got divorced when I was very young.
Okay.
But I must say, there's another aspect of my life that I would like to talk about, which I don't usually talk about, but I think I've come to that age. I came from a very abusive childhood. My father was very abusive. He was a very strict man. So I think my dance,
Was one of your way
My-
out to that.
plus it was my healer, it was my, my ishq. So my soul was so scarred by a very, very aggressive father. And he used to beat us, he used to strip us naked and leave us in the snow. Very, very vicious things. And then my parents divorced because, itna zyada. I don't know what happened with my parents in that sense, but they divorced. So I was going back and forth between, in London, you have to get custody.
Yeah.
So either your mother keeps you or your father. So I used to run away to my mother. The police would bring me back and say, you have to stay with your father because he has your custody. Then I would say to him, why don't you fight for my cousin? And I was 8, 9 years old. So this was happening and I was dancing and that was the only thing that was... I think my father never really took it seriously because he was never focused on us. He was like too in his own little world. And eventually my mother got my custody. So, and I got away from my father and everything. Then I think when he got married a couple of times after my mother. But my mother was a lot softer. She was a lot more supportive. She said, as long as you don't go to Pakistan, theek hai. The minute I said, main Pakistan ja rahi hu, I want to go to Pakistan. So when I came here, the whole family was like...
What are you doing, huh?
No, they threw me out of the house. They said, out. So I was out on the street in Lahore thinking, where should I go? And because I knew my Maharaj Kathak, I went to him and I said, they said, either you give it up and you stay with us. And I said, no. So they threw my suitcase out of the house. I said, "Theek hai, I'm not giving up my dance, no matter what happens." So then Maharaj took me to Salima Hashmi.
Oh, okay.
Then Salima Hashmi found me a place to be as a paying guest.
Okay.
So I moved in there. Then she found me a job because I needed to work. Obviously, I was like, needed to work my life
Shoaib
out.
Hashmi have taught us economics.
Yeah, no, Salima ji was very, she says, supported me all the way. Then I was copywriting for an advertising agency called Trends Advertising on Jail Road. And I used to, when I went there for the job, I said, listen, I'm not going to work all day. I need to dance. So he says, no, we'll give you can work 3 hours a day and we'll pay you 5,000 rupees at that time.
Okay.
And I said, chalo, at least my rickshaw, jana, ana, all of that. So that's how crazy I was.
I do feel that there's a certain amount of trauma that is sort of necessary to blossom into whatever form that we choose. I mean, it doesn't have to be dancing. It could be economics. It could be science. It could be something. Because if the childhood is somehow too perfect and comfortable, a lot of times those people just don't have that courage or I guess courage is the right word.
The level of courage is lesser than them.
To really go into it, to go deep into it, and to make the necessary sacrifices.
Absolutely.
To become really good at something that really speaks to them in the heart, whatever it is. So,
And I think pain,
and pain trauma is what I'm saying. Yeah,
is the greatest driver.
Absolutely. And it gives
Drives
you hunger.
you. Yeah, it drives, keeps you hungry.
Because one can learn all the skill and you could be very talented, but if you don't have the hunger, you're not going to get anywhere. And you cannot teach hunger.
Deepens because artists, I feel, there's something so invisible inside them as human beings that if they've experienced that kind of canvas, it becomes play. It's really interesting. I used to look at it as pain and, once you get out of victimhood and you start looking, I actually bless my parents now because if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be the person I am
You would
today.
maybe just an average person.
An average girl would have got married,
have kids and,
no.
making tea for them. And,
Exactly. So they were my gurus.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Khayali Dialogue. Please subscribe, like, and share our videos so we can grow and we can bring more amazing guests for you and for us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.